I spoke with a personal friend of his, Joseph Tosini, and asked him how Francis, who was known for his humility, would have reacted to this morning's events, all celebrating his life.
Well, he orchestrated the ceremony, as you heard. He laid it out. He wanted it to be close to the people. He's buried in a simple coffin. He did things different in the same way he didn't live in the Apostolic Palace. He lived in a hotel, you know. He had a room in a hotel. And he always wanted to be with people. But I think there's something that's really interesting. I come from a generation, you know, where we used to like a guy named Bob Dylan. You ever hear of Bob Dylan?
Of course I have, yes.
Okay, well, let me read you something real quick.
Okay.
This is Bob Dylan's tribute to Pope Francis. Pope Francis was a voice of mercy in a time of noise. He walked with humility, he spoke with fire, and dared to love the unloved. He reminded the world that compassion isn't weakness, and faith doesn't have to shout to be heard. May he rest in the eternal peace he so often preached.
Talk about fitting, and this is just one of the many reasons he was referred to as the People's Pope. You mentioned
there you go.
He orchestrated his funeral. He said he wanted to be buried in a wooden coffin. A lot of his predecessors are typically buried in lead or elm or cypress. He wanted this as simple as possible. Francis will be the first pope in more than a century not buried at the Vatican. He has just arrived at St. Mary Major Basilica. We saw the procession inside. Can you talk to me about the symbolism and importance of this burial location for the Pope?
Well, there's two things. One, it was a favorite place for him, and every time he went on a journey, before he would go, he went there to pray, and when he came back, he went there to pray. And it's also in a place in Rome where anybody can go. You don't have to go through the Vatican gates. You don't have to deal with all that. You're there. He's with the people, and he's in a small place, and he's in a place that I think will be visited by millions of people over the years.
You know, in his homily today, Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re said Pope Francis gave up himself by comforting and encouraging us with a message capable of reaching people's hearts in a direct and immediate way. Does that encapsulate your friend here, Joseph?
Yeah, I can tell you a little story, just a short story. One of my last times with the Pope, I don't know if it was last, maybe a few times before, he was in a wheelchair at this time. And after our meeting, we used to meet for 2 or 3 hours, 2.5 hours, and I would bring different people with me, small groups of people. But I would always have a private time with him. And in this particular time, we had left, everyone was leaving, and we're going to a restaurant across the way of St. Peter's Square. But I stayed behind just to be with him. And as he was being wheeled out, I was walking with him. It was just in this alcove right there, St. Peter's Basilica and Domo Santa Marta, where he lived. And I was looking at him, and I felt such a burden and such a sadness, because I knew he would love to have gone with us to the restaurant and just be with us. Yeah. But I felt like I was visiting a prisoner. Like when I used to visit people in prison, I felt like I was visiting. Now that's an allegorical thing here.
Why do you say that?
Because he was a captive. When you're a pope, you're not free anymore. And he was the man who wanted to ride the bus, who wanted to walk through the streets. I mean, he was that way. I mean, he would joke with me, you know, hit me in the shoulder and kind of use me like a straight man. I mean, it was crazy what he did. But when I looked at him, that's probably one of my most precious memories that I'll keep with me. I just looked at him and he waved goodbye to me, and I saw him going in there, and I felt such an overwhelming sadness for the sacrifice that this man has made.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.